All right, so we're going to talk about goals real quick. Tip number 4. Goal tip number 4. And this is just a component out of one of the teachings that I do on chief aim, developing your chief aim. And in developing your chief aim, you have to aim. You have to aim at something. It's the benefit of actually creating a goal is it actually triggers a it triggers something in your brain. It triggers the RAS factor in your mind, in your brain. And when it triggers that, the RAS starts to look for that goal to give you benefit of capturing attention. So I'm going to start off with the first thing is you want to make sure that you set your attention by setting a goal. If you don't set goals and you're trying to pay attention to something, you're going to miss it. You're going to miss what you're supposed to be paying attention to. So your mind, the moment I say I want to have we're going to go to the goals. If we do the vision board, and one of the things I put on my vision board is an airplane and a Rolls Royce or Bentley. Bentley is what I've had, but Rolls Royce has been getting my attention lately. So I put one of those. That's one of my vision board aspects. Now, when I see the Rolls Royce that I like, when I see the plane that I like, every single time I pay attention to it. I know the sound of it. I know things about it. So, but the RAS factor gives me the focus that I wouldn't have unless I made attentive point of looking for it. But when I'm not even looking for it, my RAS will make me see it when I'm not looking for it. So I won't miss opportunities. I won't miss available opportunities for me. So make sure that you set your aim, and then be intentional with your aim. And I'm going to give you these three things again in different terms. But you're going to have attention. You're going to pay attention to it. Have attention. You're going to give yourself intentionally to it. And when you're giving, the reason you give yourself an intentional thing, something intentional to it, is intentionality makes you set a time and a place. A time and a place. Now, the more intentional you are, the more your times and your places are going to be dialed in, and they won't be random. And you want to make sure that you don't live in the realm of just shooting from the hip. You want to live in the realm of being intentional as often. So it's going to be the time and the place is going to be very strongly set when you're an intentional person. And then the third part of having aim. So attention, you're going to set your attention by setting your goal. So I'm going to climb Mount Everest. Now, if I'm walking past the newsstand and out of the corner of my eye, I can see Mount Everest. I can see the name Everest. It's going to attract me to everything that I need. I'm going to pay attention to things. Now I need to make sure that I set my attention intentionally, by setting times and places. So if I'm going to be on a intermittent diet, an intermittent fast, that means I have to set my 16 hours that I'm fasting. If I'm going 16/8, I'm going to go 16 hours that I'm fasting and 8 hours that I eat. Now, in that 8 hours that I eat, I need to still be intentional because my whole eating should be intentional, not just my hours. So there's a lot of people that intermittent fast, but they don't actually set intentional eating. So I'm going to break my fast with something that's specific intentionally. I'm not going to break it with Snicker bars. I'm going to break it with something that's intentional. So let's say I'm going to break that fast every day at the certain time, whenever that clock goes off, where I can eat at my 8 hour of window of eating. I'm going to eat, say, oatmeal. I don't, but I do like oatmeal, but I don't eat oatmeal. But that would be a great break because a lot of people who do that eat oatmeal. What I do is I have 2 eggs. I have two, just coconut fried eggs or boiled eggs. I like boiled eggs. But then I'm going to have a shake, a protein shake, and then I'm going to have usually at that point, somewhere in between, one of my meals is a bulletproof coffee, and then the other one is a low carb, higher fat dinner, right? So but I have to be more intentional by what I want to do because I'm paying attention to what I'm eating. So if I'm paying attention to what I'm eating, I'm not only setting the time, but I'm setting the place. So the attention sets the what, the time and the place is set by my intentionality, And then the M of it is I'm going to make sure that I have measurements, that I measure it, that everything that I do is measured. So then not only do I do that, but I also, and they say when you're doing the things that I'm doing, you don't need to count the calories, but I'm going to count the calories so that I make sure that I'm measuring everything. And then I'm going to measure my arms, I'm going to measure my legs, I'm going to measure my core, I'm going to measure my chest, I'm going to measure that on the weekly basis. I'm going to measure myself on the scale. Somehow you're going to have measurements. So I break all that down, not to tell you my eating, my pattern, but I break all that down for the sake of knowing that you have to set your aim. For the sake of knowing that you have to set your aim. Now, the more you can set your aim, you're going to have to, in setting your aim, the goal of setting the aim is not in this aim of a goal, my attention. When I pay attention to something, I'm determining what I'm willing to give and what I'm not willing to give. So the first aspect of my giving is the goal of what I will give as my service. So when I'm setting my goals, what am I willing to give as my service? Well, I had to sit down literally and work out that eating plan. So I said, I'm willing to give this as my service. I'm going to go 16-8, and I'm going to whatever it may be. Now, if my chief aim is to do a vision boarding challenge, then it would be different. Then it's not a health goal. Then my chief aim would be to do the vision boarding challenge. And then what am I going to give as my service? Okay, so I'm going to give people 1 hour for 5 days. And for the result that they're going to get greater vision, clarity, and all those things. So that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm serving the world to accomplish my goal. My goal is I want to serve, 50, 100, whatever amount of people. I want them to get their vision and the way I'm going to serve the world. So most people don't start their goals off of how they're going to serve people. But this is what I want you to start your goal. Your goal, your aim is how are you going to serve someone else to get to your goal. I use the first aspect of if I were to create this aim and it was just about me, I need to know what I'm willing to give up, what I'm going to do in order, how I'm going to serve to do it. So this week, how are you going to serve? Your first part of the attention is pay attention to how you serve people around you, and then that will determine the level of service that you're going to give. I'm willing to give this 5 days to get this kinds of result. The next part of being intentional is the demand that I will put on me, the price of my success. What am I willing to put on myself? So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to prepare for this. It's going to take me 25 hours a day or 6 years or whatever. 25 hours in 6 years, 6 days, whatever. I'm going to put some kind of pressure. So what's my price? What's my price for success? What price are you willing to serve these people? So I'm going to serve these people. I'm going to give myself not only, I know I'm giving already 5 hours to them as I serve, but then when I get off, I have to go in the Facebook group and talk to them there. I'm going to also plan what I'm doing in between. I'm going to give this, and this is going to be, my service. I'm willing to give this for this kind of output, for this kind of result. Then the next thing is you're going to set your performance. You're going to set your performance benchmarks. And setting your performance benchmarks is really about measurements, making sure that you measure everything. And every measurement should be based upon something that is high level of execution, is your lag and your lead. If you think about lag, this is what I do to maintain what I have. These are things that I've done already in the past to give me what I'm doing today, and I must maintain that. And this is the things that I'm doing today that are going to give me the future. When I'm working with people in business, I realize that most people are income focused. But the key to everything in life is that you aren't just income focused, but you are, the word is missing the word, the equity. This would be income, the income for today. A lag is being income focused, and this is being equity focused. What's going to happen tomorrow? So if I'm doing the challenge with Pastor Neela's focus, and of course, because we've been communicating, she's going in, and this is going to be, helping her to, 5-day free challenge is probably going to lead to something. So the first aspect, the first benefit of what she's doing is a lead magnet, right? So a lead magnet is building an email list. She's building email lists. That's her lead. So she's building equity first. And then in the midst of it, then the next whatever step is of involvement will be about income. Everything we do should have both of them. If you're going to be in business, you should have both income and equity in what you're working on. If you're just working on getting income and you're not building an email list, then you're losing equity, and so your income will die off. If I'm Dr. Rachel is making money in her practice, but what she's doing is she's hiring someone else so that she can start working on equity. And in this season of equity, she's also writing a book. Right? A book is building equity because it's for the future. It's about what's going on in the future. So make sure that whatever you're doing, that these things are measured in your performance. What in my performance, what's lead? In my performance, what's lag? And the more you can do that, What really makes this powerful is that every game that we play has a scoreboard, unless it's little t-ball, which everyone wins, which that's a lying sport. But anyway, so we need but if you're really going to win in life, you have to have a scoreboard, and the only way you know if you're winning is whether or not you have a scoreboard. That's what this performance benchmark is your scoreboard. Make sure that you're keeping score on yourself and how you're winning. That's why when we come to, hey, how many of you have wins? What's going on? What are you working on? That's at least the win moving forward, because it's more forward action. So when you're setting your aim, know that your aim is going to have to do with what you're paying attention to. Your intentionality will include your time. You have to intentionally set time and a place for what you're going to do, and you're going to make sure that you're measuring it. The thought process that I want you to have in setting your attention, the things that you're going to do, is you're serving. How am I going to serve the world with this? Then you're going to make sure that you focus on the price that you're willing to give towards that success. So if you're looking at, Bruce Lee, I don't know if you know Bruce Lee, but Bruce Lee is one of the people who, was very famous in setting his chief aim. And when he said his chief aim, he said, this is what I want. I want to become the number one, martial arts actor. I want to gain this much, garner this much money from it. I want to become accomplish this much, and I want to do it by this time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to serve the world with the best martial arts, programming, TV show. I'm going to be the best in the world. I'm going to work. So he set kind of what his aim was, and then this is how I'm going to make sure everyone's entertained and enjoys it, and this is what it's going to get to me. This is how I'm going to work towards it, and this is when I'm going to have it done. And then he sets the measurement. Well, he said he hit every one of those goals, and it was all based upon these three components. The goal and what I will give as my service. Number two, this is the demand that I will put on me, the price of my success, the demand that I'll put on me. Make sure you have that, the demand that you put on you. And then set the performance benchmarks, which is the lag or lead for execution. And I know this is a little bit heavier in the thought process in goal setting. It's not just, hey, just set the goals and put it out there. But no, if you want to hit it, you want to hit that performance, you have to know it's about execution. And the more you can control how you execute and when you execute, then that's going to be the key to making sure that you hit every goal. Amen.